It has been way too long since I put out a video. Once again, that's going to be a common trend, I fear. But never fear, TB Rays is here to save the day, save us from all this boring nothingness that we've had. So he is playing in the Skoda T17, which is one of the new tanks from that new Czechoslovakian machine gun line, whatever you want to call it. That's what I'm calling it, because that makes sense in my brain. So regardless, that's what it is now. TB Rays here is going to have a spectacular battle in the Skoda T17, as you may have guessed, because why would I show you a replay that is absolutely garbage? Now, disclaimer, the first part of this battle, not the most exciting, but let's chat a little bit instead about what could possibly be going through TB's mind during all this, and how I can definitely relate to some of this. So, first off, statistically, TB Rays is arguably a slightly better player than me. He knows his stuff. He has definitely featured in some replays here before. He's one of the group that I play with regularly, and he is also in a platoon with a couple other of the guys that are as well that you may have seen some of their replays of in here before. And kaboom goes that T20. I had a feeling that wasn't really necessary. If the 152 or the ISU 152 hit him with that big gun, yeah, any other scratch on him would have been enough to finish him off. But anyway, TB Rays is now pushing himself up here into a position to maybe do something. Keep in mind, this is an assault game mode, so he's going to poke this corner, see if anyone's trying to do anything sneaky. Looks like they are not, so now he is going to assume that no one is going to continue to do that, and that the people up on that hill behind their base, just out of, yeah, right there, that one, is going to kind of keep his butt safe. So now, what are we going to do? What is TB Rays going to do? This is the part of the battles that when things like this happen, I don't really like. You're kind of stuck sitting here, doing nothing, thinking, okay, I could push up and shoot these guys around the corner in front of us, but they have an advantage, so that's a really bad tactical decision. They might push up, but I do have a little bit of help from my allies nearby, so probably not. So what do I do? What can I do that's not going to get me killed? And remember, this is a 5-round autoloader tank. It's a light tank. It does 100 damage with each of its rounds, so up to 500 per magazine. And that is, you know what, I skipped this vehicle, but after watching TB's replay here, I'm kind of regretting that decision. I think this vehicle looks like it might actually be kind of fun. But with this whole new line, I'm not sure if it's great or not. What do you guys think? Those of you who have played this new machine gun line, are the vehicles really any good? I have the Tier 8 still, and hello there. But I don't know. I want to enjoy it, but I'm not. Does that make sense? So TB Rays now has decided that his little journey around there is probably not the best thing to have ever happened. And luckily, TB Rays is not a vampire, because if he was, this big stake through the middle of his turret would probably be life-ending. Ah, yes. Stake. Now, TB wants to make something happen here. He's still feeling pretty awkward by the looks of it, not knowing what to do with himself. But I think that in this position, the best thing for him to do is to just make sure he hangs on to those hit points. If you can't do anything for your team, don't put them at a disadvantage, at least. At least save your hit points for later. Tanks like this with the autoloaders tend to do better later on in battles anyway, when enemy vehicles are low in hit points and you can really almost finish them off with one magazine. That's when the tanks become the most effective, in my opinion. And none of these guys, for whatever reason, are paying attention to TB. I guess he was just spotted a few seconds ago, but still. And now, TB has a mission. His mission, go kill this French light tank, the AMX 1357, which does have a 6-round autoloader on its own. Yeah, gotta make sure we don't exchange clip for clip, but at this point, it looks like that AMX is likely going to be a one-shot kill for TB Rays. And TB knows that. Hopefully he can get that shot off before the ELC even knows what hit him. Or sorry, the AMX even knows what hit him. And so far, it's not going too well. Now he's playing Ring Around the Rosie with this guy. And hopefully none of that AMX's team is watching that E25 is, because getting shot a bunch of times for nothing is kind of a bummer. Now, in one sense, yes, TB didn't really achieve anything doing that. He didn't get any damage done, but he did kind of push that AMX out, which may help his team out more than you'd think, because having a light tank that could sit in a bush and be sneaky is not ideal for his team. Now, TB has pushed up onto this hill here. I probably wouldn't have. I would have been too afraid about this E25 sitting in that bush right there, as he may still be doing, and just unloading into TB, into myself, as I was pushing up. But it looks like the E25 is in fact not there. And can he get a couple shots into the Tiger? No, just one. One hit for 99 damage, manages to hit. And just now, finally, already halfway through this battle, TB Rays has managed to do his first shot of damage. Like I said, this one starts a little bit slow, but I do think the build-up to it is relatively important. So here we go. Where's that E25? Is he sitting around here? He is not. Okay, so TB has decided that E25 must be gone. He's probably a mile away by now, so he's going to sit here and see if he can get a couple shots into enemies, see if he can pick off that Tiger or maybe that M2Y way over there. And there's the Tiger, and TB, I like what he's doing here. He's making sure he's far enough away from those bushes when he's firing that he won't get spotted. That is a absolutely great plan, because getting spotted and getting shot by anything that may be down there is not a good idea whatsoever. In this way, too, he can kind of keep his position a bit of a secret from at least most of the enemy team. Obviously, that Tiger 1 is going to know where he was getting shot from, but one step at a time here. What's he going to do? Not shoot at all? Oh, I can't shoot my enemies because they'll know where I am now. Now, using the bushes again to his advantage, he's going to now take some shots at this Type 57 from a distance. Can he put more shots in? No, okay. As soon as the Type 57 faced his frontal armor towards TB, TB just gave up and went, no, I'm not going to penetrate the front of that thing. I'm just going to reload a magazine there. I would have probably taken the shots just in that off chance I managed to hit some sort of weak spot, but to be honest, is there even a weak spot that I could penetrate on that thing? Even shooting down at it on the top of its turret a little bit? Probably not. TB was thinking about going over there and helping out with that E25, but it looks like the Waffenträger Borsig, Rheinmetall Borsig, which is now dead, and the Ferdinand have things under control, bar the whole death thing and the fact that the Ferdinand's about to lose a few more hit points. But, you know, details. Now, where is that other E25? Because the one that was spotted before where TB's was last positioned is a different one than the one that just got killed over here. So where could it be? It's sneaking around somewhere probably. It could be anywhere in the map by now. That thing is obviously a sneaky little tank that has quite the top speed and the ability to move positions like nothing, really. So TB has decided he's going to push up here a little bit more. Probably trying to scout out what's around the area a little bit more so that him and the Ferdinand aren't sitting at one spot getting surprised when something approaches from nearby. So getting close enough to the bushes that he can see through all of them, and okay, well, there's an enemy. TB Rays, even though he's going to get spotted and is not using the bushes to his advantage, wants to get that big, scary-ish tank destroyer out of here. And now, that was actually a 1v5 that TB was in right there for just a moment, because the Ferdinand died just before that Kampfpanzer was killed by TB Rays. So there is some epic medals at play here if TB can somehow pull this one off. But at this point, it's TB's 771 hit points versus the enemy teams having supposedly 2,173 remaining. And here comes an E25 to reduce that number of hit points a little bit more. And if for some reason E25 wasn't firing there, which is kind of concerning, but whatever. And the E25, what just happened? E25 just rammed himself to death on TB Rays. If that E25 was firing as he was approaching and put an extra shot or two into TB Rays, he'd be on very low hit points right now. And then, if that E25 didn't ram himself to death, he would have probably been able to finish TB Rays off quite easily before TB was reloaded with his next magazine. Reload time on the Skoda is not very much at all, but still, it's more than enough. And that combined, especially with that shot that he just took from the Tiger 1, leaving him on very few hit points, 75 hit points, is, you know, that E25 might have just thrown this game here, because now it's TB Rays here with 1,400 damage done, 3 kills to his name, which is on its own not terribly impressive, but he's now killed 3 of the 5 remaining enemy vehicles on his own. He doesn't have any hit points to play with, but you know what? That ISU 152 on the enemy team, with a lucky penetration with armor piercing or a good penetration with high explosive, TB Rays was a one-shot kill from the beginning anyway, so does it really matter? Not too much. Now, TB Rays needs to penetrate pretty much all these shots here, possibly all these shots, in order to be able to finish off this RD with 1 magazine, and it looks like that's not going to happen. No, he's leaving him on just a few hit points. So now we have the awkward dance here of what can we possibly do aside from, you know, stare at each other while everybody reloads. And TB's just going to take the time, finish him off without even looking, because cool guys don't look at explosions. And did you see that shell hit the backside of the building here? For some reason, ISU 152 decided to shoot the building when there was no possible way ever that it could hit TB Rays. So now TB gets to go up here and sit behind him. There's only 25 seconds left in this battle, though. That's a little bit scary. Hold up. Let's just examine the situation for 1 second here. Looking at this, TB Rays has to do another 792 damage to kill this ISU 152. So that means that he needs to penetrate probably 8 shells, depending on how RNG treats him. And of course, as we went over earlier, this is a 5-round autoloader, and each round does 100 damage, so 500 damage in a magazine. Does he have enough time, with 23 seconds remaining on the clock, to unload 5 more rounds, reload again, and fire another 3 into the back of this 152K? All the while, this 152 is not going to make this job easy for TB Rays. Can he do it? Can he get the Kolobanovs? Let's find out. Now, it looks like this ISU is going to back right up into TB Rays, probably trying to do a little bit of ram damage, which he does a little bit, but it's just not enough, giving TB the opportunity to unload 5 rounds for a grand total of another 476 damage done, which means TB Rays, because RNG was not on his side, needs to penetrate probably another 4 rounds. But now there's only 10 seconds left on the clock. Can TB Rays reload fast enough to put enough shells into this guy to kill him? He cannot afford to mess up any of these shells whatsoever, and I'm sure he knows it. He can hear that clock ticking. There's 2 shells, there's 3. That one didn't penetrate. And he looks up in despair and sees that the ISU is sitting on 115 hit points still. He needed to penetrate 2 more. Even if he had penetrated that one that bounced, it just wouldn't have been enough without a little bit more luck from RNG. Very unfortunate there that enough of those shells low rolled and did not high roll, not allowing TB Rays to finish him off, which this is an assault battle, so that also means that this counts as a loss for TB and a win for the enemy team. See, I told you this battle would be better near the end, but man, what a heartbreak. That was one of the closest and brutalest heartbreaks I have ever seen. GG TB Rays.